let's get into not so shocking announcement, since we knew that Nintendo was going to get into the mobile market, and they started with the Miitomo, and kinda, well, they're getting a cut of Pokemon Go, but now we have an endless runner. Their first, like, this is it. This is a Nintendo app game with one of our huge, IPs here.
So, this is actually interesting to me for a few reasons. So when Pokemon Go came out, Nintendo saw a huge spike in their value, their stock value.
It came back down to earth, but they did see us.
Well, it came back down to earth, especially when it wasn't a secret, but when people really started to realize that Nintendo didn't actually have that much to do with with the app. It was Niantic Labs that really had the most to do with it. This is more so than Miitomo. This is their own game.
It's an actual game.
And not only is it their own game, but it's not going to be for Android and Apple. This is strictly for Apple devices.
Oh, it's not going to come out on Android at all?
No, this is as far as I know, this is strictly Apple. To get into what the game is a little bit more, if you don't know what an endless runner is, and this isn't actually really an endless runner at all, it is a runner, an automatic runner. It's a game that takes the control of the left and right movements out of your hand. Basically, your character is always running. Oftentimes, momentum will pick up speed the further you make it down a level. What you control is the timing of your jumps. So you'll have to get the timing down to hit the boxes for power-ups.
You walk along at a constant rate.
Right. If you ever played NES Remix, there were plenty of levels in NES Remix from Mario where Mario's constantly running and you have to get through the level while he's running with only controlling his jumps. I love those levels. I love endless runners like Cannibalt on iOS. It's one of the first games I downloaded for my iPhone when I got one 3-4 years ago, and it's still one that's on my phone. The difference is this Super Mario Run game will have defined start and stop points. This will also be free to play with a demo, and it will have a purchasable version. But what's more interesting to me is that this is Nintendo developing a game for Apple. People wanted to see Nintendo go third party, and this is Nintendo, in a modern era, really doing this, developing something for what you could call a truly a different console.
Well, they revealed it at the Apple conference.
Yeah, and I don't think so far there's been any mention of an Android version of it.
It looks like they're not specific on when, but sometime they said 2016. So it's
late December, I think they said.
Oh, excuse me.
This article from Forbes, actually Forbes
or maybe
staff,
next
not
year.
Ford blog, says.
Or it could be actually next year, but it's gonna come sometime afterwards. They're not specific yet on when it's going to happen.
Okay. So this says Autorunner strides onto iPhones in December of this year.
So who knows? 2017. So it's going to be a semi-exclusive at first, but yeah, they can't lose out in the Droid market. It's just as big as the Apple at this point.
But what we have is Nintendo legitimately developing games for other platforms now. It's just not your Sony and your Microsoft systems like people thought, have been asking for. What's interesting is this did shoot Nintendo stocks right back up again, about 20%, and the stock is higher by about another 60% higher than it was at the start of the year. This one should be interesting for a couple of reasons. One, this is if you discount Pokemon Go because it was more Niantic than Nintendo. And if you discount Pokemon Go also for the reason because Pokemon Go requires you getting out there to play the game. This is the first real game that they're doing. It's going to be interesting to see how well it does, I think, on the market. How many people download this, play it, adopt it. Because this isn't going to be it's going to be casual, but it's not going to be as casual as something like Pokemon Go or Miitomo.
Well, it's going to be paid, correct?
It'll have. I believe it said that it'll have a demo, but then yes, it will be a fully fledged paid game. It'll be interesting to see how many people adopt a fully paid game as opposed to something with a free to play mechanic.
I think it'll do. I mean, hell, this is even $2.99. I think they'll sell millions of them just because it's Mario. A casual person will go, it's a Super Mario game, and they'll play it because there's tons of endless runners out there, correct? So I mean, like, this is going to be the first one where it's like, oh my god, this is the most famous, iconic video game mascot in existence. So why wouldn't this do well? There's no reason it wouldn't. It's going to be polished. It's in the like the new Super Mario Brothers graphic style that we've seen the past 5-6 years. You know, starting with the Wii. So yeah, it'll do gangbusters. I'm looking at it. It's pretty. I mean, it's an endless runner, but you know, there's some other elements. You can hop on Goombas and enemies. You go past Bowser. You collect coins.
Like I said, it's going to be just like those levels in NES Remix. If those were fun and those levels were never intended for that, imagine what they could do when they're structuring a game around that design.
Sure, and have more thought. Like, you can jump backwards, and it looks like you can hit these blocks to activate more coins. I'm sure there'll be rewards for how many coins you get in a level. You know, like maybe you get like platinum, gold, silver, bronze. You know what I mean? Like some sort of challenge system like that. There's only let's say a minute of gameplay released so far, at least on YouTube from what I see. But yeah, this will make a mint, and it's not like it probably was that challenging for them to develop this. You know what I mean? Compared to other huge games coming out, like the new Zelda game on Wii U, Call of the Wild. So I mean, I think people, it's weird because people are like, it's the death of Nintendo because they're going to the mobile market. But why wouldn't they go to the mobile market if they're going to make a ton of money doing it? And there's little risk putting out these games. What's the risk? No one's gonna download them. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, the cost to make this is gonna be a lot less than making a huge console game. You know, so but there's less overhead probably with marketing a game like this because it's all on your phone. It's gonna jump to the top of the list in like the downloads within the first like day. You know what I mean? Just like Pokemon Go. People are gonna see Pokemon Go and see this right underneath it probably because of the search results or whatever. They might see a new NES guide app out there too. Might pop up too. So. Yeah, I'll probably check it out. This is a few bucks. Why not? You know, what's the harm?